The Lane Kiffin saga continues on another day without a very clear end in sight. We reported at LouisianaSports.net that Kiffin and Ole Miss Athletic Director Keith Carter are going to meet Friday in Oxford. That on the docket there's Carter wants clarity from Kiffin. Kiffin wants an NIL plan for the next era of NIL, what that looks like to make sure that Ole Miss can remain competitive. Not just we'll commit this much money, it's how is it actually going to functionally work with true third-party NIL. I have said, will continue to say, I do not know who is going to be the next LSU coach. I do not believe Lane Kiffin has made up his mind if he's going to stay at Ole Miss or if he's going to pick LSU. I do believe all of the due diligence is being done. The LSU Board of Supervisors is meeting on Friday. That was a scheduled meeting, by the way, but they will go into executive session, which is not open to the public, is not a public record. And in that meeting, I'm sure they'll discuss Brian Kelly's buyout, what their next steps will be, and I'm sure they'll discuss what contracts they're willing to offer, Lane Kiffin, whoever else may be on the docket. So all of that is moving. Kiffin's family was in Baton Rouge earlier this week. I believe all of the things I've heard associated with this job indicates that Lane Kiffin is preparing for the possibility of taking the LSU job, including words circulating within the coaching community about potentially putting staff together. But remember, that's very common. As you're considering these things, it's all things that are being considered. So all of those wheels are in motion. It doesn't mean a deal gets done. But as I've said we'll continue to say, the interest is real and sincere on both sides. Doesn't mean a deal will get done. I hope it is. It'd be great if Lane Kiffin's a coach. That'd be great theater. Are you kidding me? Talk show host in Baton Rouge with Lane Kiffin as the LSU coach? Let's go. I'm in. Sign me up. But the question everyone has asked me and asked everyone is, okay, well, if they don't get Kiffin, who's next on the list? And I have not had a great answer to that question. I know all the names you've heard. It's all the names everyone's talking about. The names that pop up on all these odds, offshore betting services of who's the odds. And today, Lane Kiffin, by the way, is the betting favorite to be LSU's coach. Earlier this week, it was Kenny Dillingham. Last week, it was Nick Saban. So what do we believe? I don't know that there's a lot of validity to any of that anyway. But what I think now that I'm comfortable saying is I can give you 4 names that if it's not Lane Kiffin, I'd be surprised if it wasn't one of these 4. Lane Kiffin is the apple of their eye. Lane Kiffin is their target. They want to get that deal done. That's not a secret. I'm not breaking news. We all know it. If they don't get a deal done with Lane Kiffin, who's next? I think you really have to wrap your brain around the possibility of Eli Drinkwitz being LSU's next head coach. I know he is on the list. That is not a guess. I'm not looking at the odds. Eli Drinkwitz is on LSU's list. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, but I'm telling you, he is on the list. And he would take the job. Now, I don't necessarily have anything against Eli Drinkwitz, but I would not like this hire. For this reason. It's not to say I don't think he could win here or he hasn't done a good job stabilizing Mizzou. He has. He has not. His teams have not performed well in big games. Eli Drinkwitz is 1-9 against AP top 10 teams. He's 7-16 against the top 25. That's not good. And you could say, well, he's at Missouri. I get it. What I want is for you to win at Missouri and get the better job. I look at Missouri, and you schedule your Power 4 non-conference game against Kansas. So they load up their non-conference with 4 winnable games. They go 5-3 in the league. They win 9 games, win a bowl game against a team with a bunch of opt-outs. Like they won that Cotton Bowl against Ohio State. That's not impressive. Half of Ohio State's team opted out. They played a backup quarterback. All their All-Americans. It was a garbage football game. Like, I'm not impressed. Like, 10 wins doesn't mean the same. That's like, all right, you want to poo-poo Brian Kelly winning 10 games twice here? How about that? So I think Drinkwitz could do fine at a more reasonable price, I'd probably be more on board, but he makes $9 million in Missouri. Are you going to pay Eli Drinkwitz $10, $11 million a year at LSU? I would rather pay Jon Sumrall $6 million a year and ride with that dude. But Drinkwitz is very much on the list, and you need to start wrapping your mind around the possibility of Eli Drinkwitz being the next LSU head coach. Kenny Dillingham is another one that we've heard mentioned a bunch and would be really interesting. I think that is an example of a coach who checks the boxes that you're looking for. He is a young coach at 35 years old. He got Arizona State to the playoffs. He has existed in this era already. He played collegiately at Arizona State. He has coached at Arizona State, at Memphis. He's been at Auburn, where he was the OC in 2019. He's coached at Florida State, where he was the OC for a couple of years. Then went to Oregon. Now at Arizona State as the head coach since 2023. So he has coached in every part of the country, including the SEC, in Florida. Young dude, tons of energy, and it might be a package deal as well with Sam Leavitt. I could get behind Kenny Dillingham. 35 years old, dude could be your coach for 15, 20 years, 30, whatever. I mean, he could stay here forever if he wanted to. I love Jon Sumrall. I wish, quite honestly, I had paid more attention to Jon Sumrall this season, because as this process has started over the last month with Brian Kelly being fired and Sumrall being a name mentioned, I've started paying more attention to Sumrall, and I love this dude. Like, did y'all hear Jon Sumrall this week? This was Jon Sumrall at his press conference this week talking about his team.
I don't know. You know, I hadn't watched that many other people play. I watch us play, and I watch whoever getting ready to play. And then after that, I don't really know who else is out there. I mean, I'll just be very candid. There's some days I feel like we're one of the bottom 25 teams in the country watching us play. So, you know, if we want to start feeling comfortable or casual about somebody wanting to vote us in the top 25 teams, there must be a lot of bad football going on if we're one of the top 25 teams. So, I mean, there must be some really bad football played right now in college football. I don't know. We're average. We're an average team. We get every 6 or 7 days, depending on the schedule of the week, to promote ourselves or embarrass ourselves. We've done that before, so we better get ready to play. I think I watched this practice today. I think we're average.
I freaking love Jon Sumrall. I love when he teed off on Northwestern for not letting them wear the Katrina uniforms earlier this year. I love that soundbite. Demanding excellence. He's 43 years old. He's from the state of Texas. He played in the SEC at Kentucky. He has been all over the place. Coached at San Diego, coached at Tulane in the early aughts, 2012 to 2014, went to Troy, went to Ole Miss, went to Kentucky. So he's been in the SEC at different stops. Head coach at Troy for 2 years, won there. Head coach at Tulane now. He's won there. I mean, he was 14-2 in the conference in his 2 years at Troy. 12-2, 11-2, goes to Tulane, 9-5. Now he's got this team 8-2 and potentially on the brink of the playoff. I love this dude. I am nauseous at the thought that he's going to go to Auburn or Florida or Ole Miss, and you're going to have to compete against that dude, because I mean, he is right down the road. You could hire him for $6-7 million a year at 43 years old. That could be your coach for the next 20 years. Could be. Maybe he doesn't last that long. I mean, in this day and age, maybe he doesn't. But his energy, he gets this era. I love the fact that they lose Darian Mensah. They're all everything quarterback, goes and takes a big NIL deal at Duke. What does he do? Boom. Let's go get Retzlaff from BYU. Plays the game. I mean, in it. Demands excellence. You just hear him poo-pooing his team that's ranked right now. I mean, I'll tell you right now, for me, and I don't get to make the choice. Ain't nobody asking my opinion. If they don't get Lane Kiffin, this would be my number one choice. I would say go hire Jon Sumrall today. Now, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to try to get a bigger name and go after Eli Drinkwitz. I think he'd be next. Dillingham at Arizona State, who I would love to. I would love that also. Jon Sumrall, for me, would be at the top of my list. And the other name I'll give you is Blake Baker. And I think the Blake Baker possibility is if you miss on your big target, you could promote the really popular assistant. You could do it affordably. He'd maintain a lot of the defensive staff. Tons of energy. He's going to be a head coach anyway. And you could certainly sell Blake Baker to this fan base because they love him already. He's been awesome on the defensive side. His energy's incredible. The players love him. I mean, spend 5 minutes at practice and watch Blake Baker's energy and how he interacts with players. You go, oh, okay, I get why they love him. It would be a big jump, and LSU has not hired a coordinator since Mike Archer. So it has been 40 years since you hired a coordinator as your head football coach. So that's a risk. But Georgia hired Kirby Smart. Before that, Georgia hired Mark Richt. Notre Dame hired Marcus Freeman. Michigan hired Sharon Moore. Ohio State promoted Ryan Day. Oregon hired Dan Lanning. Oklahoma hired Brent Venables. Before that, they hired Lincoln Riley. Before that, they hired Bob Stoops. First-time head coaches. Major programs hire coordinators. You find the right guy, it doesn't matter. Find the right guy. Is he the right guy? Maybe. But the thing worth watching that I think is actually worth watching here with Blake is if Jon Sumrall let's say Jon Sumrall is hired by Ole Miss or Auburn or Florida or whatever. Let's say Jon Sumrall gets the big job and Tulane's open. I think Tulane would be stupid not to hire Blake Baker. I mean, that would be my first and only call if I'm Tulane. I mean, Baker would be the most obvious. He played at Tulane. He's been in the SEC. He's from Houston. He played at Tulane. He would be the most obvious choice to replace Jon Sumrall. And I think that would happen. It would be stupid if it didn't happen. But Baker could be a long shot, but could be an option for LSU as well. So that's the list I'll give you as of today. Subject to change. Kiffin's the top target. If it's not Kiffin, Drink, Dillingham, Sumrall, Baker. I think one of those four, probably your next head coach. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.